Hi. No laugh. That's when you know it's serious. I'm going to yap in a lot of this video. There's going to be sections where some of you are going to be like, yeah, blah, 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 just get on with it, Baker, get to the point. And to you I say, no, sir. This is absolutely the time to speak with precision. For that reason, I have a number of bullet points on the screen, which you will see me refer to often. In fact, I might just stare at it. But there was an unfortunate circumstance that happened at Disney Lorcana Challenge Melbourne, Australia, which took place on February 1st and 2nd. I posted on Twitter here that I wasn't intentionally being silent about it. I had a very busy day Monday with personal stuff, and I wanted to reach out to Jesse, one of the players related to the incident, to get his first-hand accounting, which I have since done, and he has agreed for me to share our conversation, which I will do presently. There was one comment on my post which requested I also speak to the other player in question, Racklum, to get his accounting, to which I responded that if he would like to make a statement for inclusion, then my DMs are open. Racklum responded to me not too long afterwards saying that he would send me his statement in the morning. As you can see, this was 10:50 a.m. UK time on Tuesday. Racklum is on a similar time zone, so I decided to hold off a little longer to be able to include any statement from him. It is now 5 p.m. on Wednesday, and I'm yet to hear anything back. I sent a message which has not been replied to, so I'm going to push on as I don't want to hold off anymore on talking about it. Perhaps if he does message me or make a public statement between my recording and editing this video, I might be able to make that inclusion. If not, sorry, I tried. Obviously, this is a delicate issue, and considering my relationship with Ravensburger, I guess it's kind of risky for me to talk about it at all. I probably shouldn't be as anxious as I am to make this video, but I think it's important to do so. I'm privileged to have a voice in the community, and it's important to be responsible with it. And I've never been given any reason to believe from any of the people that I know at Ravensburger that they want me to be censored. They just want me to not be stupid, which, you know, we try. That being said, if you are a long-time viewer of mine, you know that I'm generally very positive about Lorcana 99% of the time, and not just because what's been afforded me. Generally, I think the company have done wonders in the game's first year, and while there are things for sure that can be improved on in the future, I've always taken the stance of we're already super lucky to get as much as we have, and communication has overall been really good concerning what they are allowed to talk about. I know there's been discussion recently that we still don't know about Worlds, and in a previous video I added my voice to that, and I did agree that, you know, I hope we find out about Worlds as quickly as possible. But by and large, for the majority of Lorcana's lifespan, they've been very good at communicating with the community. That being said, the events that I'm about to talk about I think were unacceptable, and we need to discuss it and look how we can avoid it in the future. The vast majority of my viewers will be well aware already of what's happened, but I think it's right that I still provide the full context, especially as there's maybe more casual Lorcana players who aren't completely plugged into Lorcana events, who get their information exclusively through specific content creators, which perhaps I am that for someone. So let's go over what actually happened. So it's day 2 of DLC Melbourne. We are in the top 8 with our left side player Jesse, who is playing Emerald Amethyst Tempo, against Clement, or Clement, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but I've been referring to him as Racklum, which is his online name, and I'll be referring to him as Racklum throughout the video. And he's playing Ruby Sapphire Control. So we'll start off at this point in the match. Racklum with 6 ink, a Pawp on board, 2 T-pose, and a Maui shark, who is our romantic lead in this piece of theatre. This Maui shark has only been played this turn, courtesy of the 6 exerted ink that you see. He chooses to challenge the opposing Cursed Merfolk, and is able to do so without discarding because he doesn't have anything in hand, then quests with the other T-po before passing. Jesse draws, quests, and draws a card with his Chernobog, then quests with his Magic Broom, before taking some time to consider what he wants to ink. We can see he's got an Elsa, a crab, a goat, and a snake. Eventually opts to ink the crab and pays his 4 ink to play Goat, who reads, when you play this character and when he leaves play, gain 1 lore. Now, this ability to gain lore is a triggered ability. The trigger in this circumstance being when he was played, and this goes into what we call the bag. But another triggered ability that goes into the bag without choice is the effect of Magic Broom, which states whenever you play another character, you may banish this character, that being the Broom, to draw a card. Now it's important to state this ability goes into the bag no matter what. Even if you do not intend on activating the May ability, the trigger being fulfilled means that this ability goes into the bag 100% of the time. You have absolutely no choice in that regard. Here is that confirmed by very experienced Disney Lorcana Challenge judge Googly Glimmers. But let's take a look at the bag courtesy of the comprehensive rules document. So section 8.7 of the CRD, the bag. Whenever a triggered abilities condition is met, the ability is added to the bag. Only abilities can exist in the bag, unlike other zones. The bag isn't a physical zone, but it's only where triggered abilities created by the game wait to resolve. Activated abilities, resolving actions, and playing characters' locations or items aren't added to the bag. Whenever a triggered ability happens, it's added to the bag by the player who added it. If multiple triggered abilities happen at the same time, they are added to the bag simultaneously by the respective players. Once there are no more abilities waiting to be added to the bag, the active player chooses and resolves any one of their abilities. An ability must finish resolving before the next can be chosen. If the resolution of an ability triggers another ability, the triggered ability is added to the bag once the current ability is finished resolving. The next two sections are irrelevant, and to be honest, even 8.72 is irrelevant, but this gives us an understanding of how the bag is supposed to work. So these two abilities, the goat and the broom, are definitely in the bag and can be pulled out in any order. The goat ability has to happen, as it is not a May ability, whereas the broom is a choice. Regardless, you can choose to acknowledge these abilities in any order you like. In this case, we see the goat being resolved first, acknowledged by writing down the law, which Racklum acknowledges by updating the law on his own pad. Jesse then moves to banish his broom, clearly indicating that he is choosing to pull the marble, shall we say, that represents that ability and activate it. But Racklum motions towards the broom, says something to Jesse, which causes Jesse to halt, and it's important to say that this next line is purely speculation on my end, but he appears to be very confused. Some conversation happens before the stream switches up to the casters. Now, we don't see what happens immediately after, but we do know that there was a judge call. Just under 2 minutes passes before we're brought back to the table, and we can see that players pass back to Racklum, but Jesse's exerted broom is still on the board, meaning that this Maui shark is about to absolutely feast, taking down the broom and allowing Racklum to return an action from his discard to his hand, chooses to develop your brain, which finds a porpsicle, and allows Racklum to snowball the game and eventually win, and move on to not only the top 4 and the potential of further spoils, but securing the golden Mickey Mouse. The actual worth of the golden Mickey is debated at the moment amongst the community, but I'm going to say within the region of 10k and potentially more. Regardless of the actual value, these are one of Lorcana's most sought after commodities and generally a big deal to have one. Now, I'm not here to talk about if this judge call and what happened here would have 100% changed the final result. I'm sure there's someone somewhere that's broken down the draws over the next few turns and worked it out with scientific precision. I'm not going to do that, but those that follow the game closely, I think, will all agree it completely changed the game. And if you aren't as up to date on Lorcana, allow me to tell you, it completely changed the game! Now, I think it is also important now to refer to a section found in the official tournament rules document, which reads, when a player has multiple simultaneous actions to resolve, that player must announce the order of resolution before beginning to resolve the first one. The order cannot change once the first action has begun. Now, this is the only piece of official documentation that could have given any weight to the judge call made, and resulted in the stream viewers drawing the conclusion that Racklum had made the claim that the broom trigger had not been announced, and in the act of resolving the goat ability, he'd missed the trigger and could no longer banish the exerted broom and draw a card. And going by the board state we returned to, it seems the judge ruled in Racklum's favour. Now, this quote in the tournament rules document that I just read, while still present, is well known among the community to be outdated, incorrect, and in complete contrast of the comprehensive rules document and its explanations about how the bag works. This is confirmed here by Kyle, who is the rules manager for Disney Lorcana, stating, yeah, we're well aware of that line being incorrect. It is quite literally the first thing on the chopping block when the docs are next updated, and will probably be replaced with a more correct breakdown. Now, in my time playing, discussing, and casting Disney Lorcana, I have never known anyone to dispute that Magic Broom should work in this function. You don't have to say a single word about activating the Broom until you actually want to activate it. If I quest with Broom and play a Merlin Rabbit, which lets me draw a card when he's played, I can choose to resolve Rabbit's effect, draw a card, see what the card is, think about it for a few seconds, and then decide if I want to pop the Broom or not. I only miss the trigger if I then decide to play another card, or quest, or challenge with something else on the board. I can't play Rabbit, draw a card, quest with Broom, and then banish it. That would be too late. But in this instance, Jesse simply adds law, and then immediately moves to remove his Broom before being stopped and the judge call is made. Now, someone might make the argument of, well, this paragraph in the rules documents does still exist, so it might be that that is just how Racklum thinks it works, which would actually be hard to prove false, and I would count myself very surprised, considering this player has been playing the game for a long while now. He's part of a well-known French team called Team Inkless, and he's made day 2 at 3 prior Disney Lorcana challenges in Lille, Bochum, and Bologna. Magic Broom has been out since May 17th, 2024, and has been a legal card for all but 2 of the 11 DLCs we've had. And that's not counting NA and European Championships. So again, I would be surprised, but it is possible. Except, if we roll the game back a bit, we can see here Jesse has an exerted Broom. Plays White Rose, adds his law, then exerts ink to pay for the rose, takes a quick look at his hand, and then banishes the Broom, to which there is no objection whatsoever. So, for me, as an individual, this would count as strong evidence that Racklum does know how it works. Also worth noting, in this prior scenario where he does not object, this is probably a good thing for him that the Broom is being banished. He doesn't have an answer to it, and it could probably sit there for at least another turn to get some more lore before eventually being banished. But Jesse clearly wants the card draw at this point, so decides to pop it with no objection at all. And it is worth noting the difference. In the latter scenario, Jesse moves to pop that Broom with 0 hesitation, whereas the prior one with the White Rose, there's a good 6 seconds and still no objection that time. I feel like Jesse could have breakdanced around the venue, high-fived his mates, and Racklum still would have let him pop that Broom. Now, I also want to refer to this quote from the comprehensive rules document on cheating. Definition: a player intentionally breaks a game rule or tournament rule in order to gain an advantage. This infraction also includes lying to a tournament official or intentionally playing slow to take advantage of a time limit, to which the corrective action in casual or competitive play is a disqualification. Now, I've seen a lot of people say that what Racklum did was wrong, but was sharking, not cheating. And yeah, it is sharking, but it is also, by this definition, cheating. If we take the on-camera evidence that we've just gone over as a suggestion that Racklum does know how this interaction works. And it is not helped by the timing of which he questions it, that being a pivotal point in the match where, by all accounts, he was behind and would be hugely benefited by being able to challenge this frozen Broom. Now, I wanted to get a first-hand accounting, so I reached out to Jesse, who I have never spoken to before, but I was put in contact with him by Artabax, shout out to Artabax, and Jesse was kind enough to answer a few questions and give me permission to show our conversation. So, Jesse states, so basically during my top 8 match, I quested my Broom before playing a goat. I then put up a law for goat and said banish Broom to draw. My opponent immediately said that I was not allowed to do that because I missed my chance to trigger it. I had no idea what he was talking about, and he told the judge because I didn't announce my intention to banish Broom immediately after playing goat, that I had missed the opportunity to do so. I said, yep, that seemed to be the case, but better to get it confirmed. Did the judge immediately rule in your opponent's favour? Was there any perceived pressuring in your opinion? He said there was some back and forth between my opponent, myself, and the judge, with the judge ultimately agreeing with my opponent and said that I must announce my intention to banish Brum immediately after playing Goat, to which I told him I didn't understand. I played Goat, put the law up, and then said banish Brum to draw. I assumed this was me announcing my intentions. The judge then explained to me that once I put the law up for the Goat, I had resolved the Goat's effect, and he was now a character on the board and no longer a character being played to the board. That's why I couldn't activate the Brum anymore. I had done the same sequence with Rose and Brum in game 2, and neither my opponent or the judge pulled me up on it on that occasion. I said, yeah, the prior example with the White Rose is what makes it undefendable, in my opinion. He responded, it didn't take long for the judge to agree with my opponent. He kind of made his point, got the judge on side, then let me and the judge discuss what was happening. He goes on to state, he was extremely quick to jump on it, though I can't help but think he saw the Rose interaction previously and was ready to react if it happened again in a later situation. I said, well, with the Rose, it didn't make much difference to his game state, whereas the second time it was absolutely game-changing, which I've stated in this video already. The board state with the Rose interaction was much different to the one with the Goat interaction. Yeah, exactly. I felt like I was in a pretty good spot with him having no cards in hand, and I have bounced to avoid the shark for at least a few turns. I said, in my opinion, you win that game from there 90% of the time, which is my opinion, but again, I haven't gone through every card that was drawn over the next few turns, so I don't know that for sure. That's purely speculation on my part. Obviously, it's hard to know for sure one way or the other, but I've played the matchup a lot, and I was pretty comfortable with how that game was going up until that point. I said, yeah, for sure, it wasn't 100%, but you were in as good a position as you could have hoped for to win the race. Thank you for giving me your side. I'm going to discuss it alone, but in the near future, if you'd like to be on the channel just to talk about your Lorcana career and the positives, then I'd love to hit you up in the near future. And he responded, another piece of information that's important is I did not call for the head judge. This is my first TCG and I had only been to 2 set champs in terms of competitive play before this event. I was a bit flustered in the moment and completely forgot I had the option to call for the head judge. Goes on to say, I really wish I did argue the point further, but in the moment I just assumed that I must have been in the wrong because he was the judge and I hadn't ever actually read the rules. I said, so I assume you've learnt the game just from playing it and having rulings explained to you by friends, etc. He said, well, originally bought the starter decks, which have the basic rules on it, and then continued playing and learning from there. I went on to ask, on the turn where you played Rose, added Law, and then popped Brum, did you say anything different to what you said later when playing the Goat, such as verbally confirm both abilities were added to the bag before resolving White Rose and then Brum, or was it the exact same circumstances? Nah, it was the exact same. The gesture towards Brum was me about to pop it before thinking to myself, oh, I better put my law up first before I forget. If that's not every purple player, show me a purple player that doesn't understand that statement completely. But I didn't say anything about the Brum till after I said gain 1 law. Understood. Thanks again. Are you happy for me to screenshot relevant parts of this convo quoting your statement? Yeah, that's fine, mate. So yeah, huge shout out to Jesse. Well done on like an incredible accomplishment to make top 8 at the first DLC in Melbourne. Clearly not all that experienced in high level play. So my heart goes out to Jesse. Yeah, that reminds me. I meant to say right at the beginning of this video, I was originally not going to monetize this video. But I've decided I am going to, and all the money made from this video specifically, I would like to donate to you, Jesse. Don't get too excited for like an average video for me. That's probably 30 to 50 pounds around that vicinity. So it's not a lot, but I'd like to do it nonetheless, whether that's a small piece of helping to like recover costs or maybe go towards the cost of your next event or something like that. That's what I would like to do. So if anyone knows Jesse well and knows how we might be able to organise that, at the end of the month, I'll take a screenshot showing what this video has made and I'll make it public and yeah, we'll look to make that happen. And if he refuses to take it, then at the very least, like a charity of his choice or something like that. But I would like to get to go towards Jesse. Again, it won't be a lot, but I just wanted to say that. But yeah, my heart breaks for him. Lost out on a golden Mickey and the chance to go on and potentially earn even more, including a highly coveted invitation to the World Championships, which was awarded to the top 2 players. Now, Racklin went on to win his unstreamed top 4 game against a well-known and respected player, Jonathan Lamb, meaning that he had secured his invite to Worlds and would meet Ding Can Pham, also known as DKP, in the finals. DKP being an extremely well-known and and respected player who has been absolutely tearing it up at DLCs in both North America and Europe all year long. Now, DKP did defeat Racklum to become the DLC Melbourne champion, and congrats to him. I feel sorry for him as well, that his big win has probably felt quite sidelined due to this issue, which is awful. I look forward to celebrating him when we cover the top deck lists from that event, which I'm still waiting for all of them to make their way onto Ink decks. If they're not all there by the end of the week, then I'll just cover what we have. But yeah, anyway. The Lorcana community is very much up in arms about this. It's the loudest I've ever seen us, to be honest, and understandably so. And people have been calling for a response from Ravensburger concerning the issue. I will say, to be tempered, I think some voices have been a bit harsh about the way they've gone about it, especially if you've been around Lorcana for a while and you know at this point that Ravensburger works so closely with Disney on this game, and an awful lot of decisions need to be approved by multiple divisions across multiple continents, and there was never going to be an immediate answer. However, there has been a statement made in the official Disney Lorcana Discord server, which reads, "We're investigating an incident that occurred at Disney Lorcana Challenge Melbourne on camera. Please note that player investigations are confidential and we do not share outcomes of these investigations publicly. We take the integrity of Disney Lorcana play seriously and appreciate your understanding as we make a decision." So, as stated here, do not expect there to ever be an official statement on the matter beyond this. The only way we're going to find out exactly what has happened is if something does happen and Racklum tells us about it himself. Perhaps there'll be an announcement at some point in the future which tells us the exact amount of Worlds invites that are left, and that will be able to give us a hint as to what might have happened, or we might just have to wait until Worlds and see if he's there or not. So why am I making this video? First, because I think it's important that people know the rules. I don't want anyone having seen this on stream thinking it's the way that it works and then going to try and do it at their locals. Also important for people to understand how it works, so if anyone tries it on them, then you hopefully now have a decent understanding of the rules and would feel confident in calling a judge. And if necessary and possible, appeal to the head judge. I'm also making it because I thought it was important that someone got Jesse's first-hand accountings so that we can be as factual as possible without drawing conclusions about things that may seem obvious, but realistically we don't know for sure. Furthermore, I want to add my voice to those that are saying that this is not acceptable. I've already shown evidence as to why I think it is reasonable to draw a conclusion that this was done maliciously to gain an advantage due to the contradiction in rules application in two scenarios where one benefited the player and one didn't. I wasn't necessarily going to mention this next bit, but it'll get brought up in comments regardless, so it's worth noting. I have heard rumours about Racklum having potentially cheated in the past in a webcam tournament. I don't have all the details about that. In fact, I barely have any, so I'm not going to go into that. But it's not a good look. Since I started recording this, there has been a statement made by Team Inkless, for whom Racklum is a member, which I'll read now. Worth noting right at the bottom, notes this text was written in French and automatically translated into English. Released Paris, February 5th, 2025. Official press release Lorcana. At Inkless, we believe that victory only makes sense if it is achieved with integrity. During the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Melbourne, Clement Fassade, apologies for saying the name wrong, whatever someone's done, I don't go out of my way to mispronounce. Nonetheless, the player in question displayed behaviour that does not align with our values, and we would like to express ourselves as a team on this matter. We believe that the responsibility of top players is to set an example by playing fairly and winning through their talent. Winning in the manner that Clement did goes against the values we uphold. The Lorcana community deserves a healthy and ethical competitive environment, and in Melbourne, Clement crossed a moral threshold. For this reason, we have decided to suspend the player in question from IKL, Inkless team, for 3 months. At this point, the date of the World Championship is unknown, but if it were to occur after these 3 months, we would ask the player in question not to wear Inkless colours during that competition. We do not wish for our colours to be represented by a player who qualifies in this manner. After the 3-month suspension, we will assess as a team whether they are able to align with our values again or not. The Inkless team has a duty to promote integrity. To this end, we are launching an internal initiative to strengthen our ethics and become true ambassadors of the fair play and sportsmanship to which we aspire. Additionally, okay, so this is also a really important paragraph. So I'm going to take a breath and probably sip my coffee. Additionally, we have observed the online harassment that Clement has been enduring over the past few days. Death threats, attempts at intimidation at the tournament venue, and the torrent of insults he is receiving are unacceptable. Clement's actions are indefensible, but they do not justify threats to his physical and mental safety. We call on everyone to engage in respectful discussion, even if they are demanding, which I would like to 100% put my voice to and my support to. No matter what he has done, there is nothing that validates sending death threats and threats of physical abuse in that manner. Be hard on exactly what he did by all means, and like call it out as unacceptable, but if you're going out of your way to harass, then you are just as bad. Thank you to the Lorcana community for your passion and dedication to the game. We remain committed to defending the values of fair play and sportsmanship in everything we do. Now, it's not for me to say what the final conclusion will or should be. Disney Lorcana are doing their own investigation. They are aware of it. They are dealing with it behind the scenes. And we will have an idea as to the final result of that investigation by Worlds at the latest. I want to address one more thing, something I do not stand with the community on. And it's only a portion. It's comments I've seen about the judge that made this ruling. Yes, they made a mistake, and I don't know this person at all, but there is every chance that they are feeling absolutely awful about the whole thing already, and not necessarily just because of the awful comments that they're reading online and potentially receiving. Like, you can realise you messed up and just feel bad because you have empathy. Point is, yes, they made a mistake, but some personal attacks that I've seen towards them are unacceptable. And I kindly ask that you do not aim your frustration at them. And that goes for all of the judges at the event. This was the first DLC held in Australia. They haven't had the game for as long as North America and Europe. The overall attendance was the lowest the DLC has had so far. And that's all perfectly understandable. It still had a lot of interest. There were still a lot of people in the room. But the vast majority of the more experienced players will have wanted to play. So please, leave the judges alone. This whole thing has resurfaced conversations about a judge program, which I think are reasonable. I have no knowledge at all when it comes to the plan for a judge program. There might be perfectly reasonable things that are delaying it. At the end of the day, nobody knows except the people on the inside. But I will say, Ravensburger, if you are listening, respectfully and with gratitude for everything you've already given us, as a community, and to me personally and my life, I would request that even if a judge program is not planned to start anytime soon, if we could get some sort of communication regarding its status, and information about when the next update will be to the official rules document and the removal of this out-of-date paragraph. That being said, maybe there are people at Ravensburger who want to do all of those things, but cannot due to reasons that we are not privy to. As always, I choose to trust the Lorcana team. I just want Lorcana, the greatest TCG in the world, to be a symbol of skill, play, and integrity. I don't know if I've missed anything, possibly, but we'll leave it there. I'm not likely to speak on it again. I'm looking forward to covering the Melbourne deck lists, finishing off the Set Championship Showcase. There'll still be 2 more videos of that because I've got so many lists still to go through. And we're a few days out from the beginning of Set 7 reveal season. That's going to be getting into full swing soon. It's important to say these things, but after saying them, I'm just looking forward to getting back into the game and all the amazing positives that are around it. Please keep comments down below on the subject respectable, but that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show support, and we'll see you soon.